just arrives at the beautiful, remote cabin. Enjoying the peace. As night falls, the quiet becomes oppressive. She hears noises outside, a crack of a branch, a heavy footstep. Peering out the window, she sees a motionless figure, a man, standing at the tree line staring. The next day, she finds a deep, fresh, human footprint right outside her window. Panic sets in. That night, the figure returns, the doorknob jiggles. Armed with a knife, she yanks the door open to find nothing but empty darkness. She flees at dawn, driving back to the safety of her city apartment. She tries to calm down, believing she's escaped. As she looks out her high-rise window, she sees him standing on the fire escape. Staring in, he taps on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. He's not just a man of the woods, he is her monster now. Story 2. The Whispers in the Wood. An urban house explorer finds a deeply isolated, decaying cabin. The air is thick and stale. Inside, the walls are covered in deeply carved, unnerving symbols that seem to pulse with a faint energy. A faint whispering begins, just at the edge of hearing. It seems to echo his own paranoid thoughts. You're alone. No one knows you're here. The whispers grow louder, more pervasive, fraying his sanity. The doors and windows seem to shift, making the exit impossible to find. In a blind panic, he finally bursts through the front door, collapsing into the sunlight. He runs and doesn't stop until he's far away. Back in the city, he learns the cabin's history. A place where people went to be forgotten, where loneliness drove them to madness. He tries to shrug it off, but late at night, he can still hear the faint, chilling whispers, now coming from his own closet. Story 3. The Footsteps in the Rain. A camper is cozied up in their tent as a fierce storm rolls in. The sound of rain is deafening. Then another sound cuts through. Heavy, squelching footsteps, circling the tent. The footsteps are relentless, circling again and again. They stop right outside the tent flap. The camper holds their breath, clutching a knife, utterly terrified of the unseen thing outside. Fueled by adrenaline, they unzip the tent and shine a light. It's not a monster. A man, drenched and desperate, is crouched by their food supply. He's just trying to survive. They share food under a tree in silent truce. The camper leaves the next morning, shaken but relieved. Weeks later, they see a news report about a man who went missing in that same forest months ago. The photo matches the man from the rain. The relief curdles into a cold dread. Was he saved? Or did something else in those woods claim him after all? A writer enjoys his secluded cabin until nightfall. A rhythmic mechanical tapping begins on the roof. Tap, tap, tap. It's too steady to be random. It feels intelligent. It continues all night, robbing him of sleep. By day, he finds nothing, no overhanging branches. That night, it starts again. He braves the storm outside and sees a large woodpecker on the roof. He laughs, feeling foolish. When he checks out, the rental agent mentions offhandedly, "Oh yeah, a family of campers died in a wildfire on this land years back." The coincidence feels chilling. Back in his city apartment, he's woken from a deep sleep. The sound is faint, but unmistakable. Tap, tap, tap. It's coming from his bedroom window. He looks but sees nothing. The tapping from the past has followed him home. Story 2. The Shed. A hiker finds an old rotting shed deep in the woods, behind his rental cabin. A foul, sweet smell draws him inside. Under a dusty top, he discovers a pile of bones. Some are unmistakably human. He runs, terrified, and drives straight to the police. They take his report seriously, and he returns to the city, trying to forget the grim discovery. Weeks later, a detective calls him. The bones have been linked to a decades-old cold case of a serial killer who preyed on hikers. The case is now reopened thanks to him. That night, he finds a note slipped under his apartment door. It contains no text, just a crudely drawn picture of the shed. The message is clear. He is not a hero. He's a loose end. The killer is still out there and now knows who he is. Story 3. The Tenant in the Cellar. During a violent storm, a guest hears scratching, not from the attic, but from under the floorboards. He discovers a hidden cellar door. The scratching is coming from behind it. He descends into the dank, dark space. His flashlight reveals a small, makeshift room. An old man, emaciated and dressed in rags, huddles in a corner. He isn't aggressive. He's terrified and lost. The walls are covered in fading photos and news clippings. This isn't an intruder. He is the previous owner, a man who lost his family and his mind, hiding from a world that forgot him. The horror is one of profound sadness. The guest leaves the next morning, but cannot escape the memory. The face of the forgotten man haunts him. The real monster wasn't in the cellar. It was the crushing loneliness that put him there. A fate more terrifying than any ghost. Story 4. The Endless Circle. A vacationer finds large, fresh human footprints circling their cabin. They deepen his isolation. His car won't start. His phone has no signal. He is trapped. He decides to hike, out for help. The walk is a nightmare. Every sound is amplified. He is constantly looking over his shoulder, convinced he is being followed, herded. He stumbles upon a ranger station. Relief floods him. He explains everything. The ranger returns with him to the cabin to investigate. Behind the cabin, they see you must find a small hidden campsite, a bedroll, canned food, and a clear view of the cabin's windows. The ranger's face goes pale. Someone's been living here, watching. The vacationer realizes the footprints weren't a threat. They were the perimeter of a hunting ground, and he was the prey. The watcher is still out there, and his game is not over.